Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm here with Corey at Canucks News Summary, the legend himself on Twitter. How's it going, Corey?
Pretty good.
And we're going to be talking about centers. This is probably the most talked about and asked about segment for us to talk about this week, the last 2 weeks. So we are definitely going to go into it pretty heavily. We have a lot of names on this list. But before we start, I got to quickly say, if you guys can drop a like and a sub, we really appreciate it. We're a brand new channel. This is something we're going to be doing on a regular basis. It really does help out a lot. Would really appreciate it. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Let's rock and roll. The first person on the list we have is Jack Roslovich. What do you think about him?
He's kind of not really much of a center anymore. He hasn't played center in the last couple years. This is the first year he actually played a bit of center and had good face-off numbers. He's kind of all offense, fast guy, instant scorer, but goes very hot and very cold. We do know that this Canucks management has liked him in the past.
Yeah, it's, he's 6'1", 198, so he has good size, good height. He's really fast for his size, which is really nice to see. But you're right. He's kind of like Barzal in a way where he's a hybrid. He doesn't really play center naturally all the time. He can play wing as well. But, the Canucks are pretty desperate for center. So if we did pick him up, I'm sure that's probably where they're going to put him. But the next name on the list is going to be something really interesting, and that is Marco Rossi, who's been talked about quite a bit. And I'll start off with this one. So Marco Rossi, even though the guy's 5'9", 182 pounds, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but this guy is a dog, and he's a dog in front of the net. And most of his goals comes out front of the net. Now, apparently Minnesota Wild's not interested in futures for him, which makes the trade really difficult considering our biggest assets are futures. And on top of that, we don't exactly have a ton of cap space, if any, right now, which makes the deal a lot more tricky if we did kind of go for Rossi, because there has been rumors that we are going to be potentially trading Joshua and Bluger here. But Marco Rossi, I really like him. But at the end, probably not the best defensive type player. Maybe not the size we're looking for, but man, he's a dog. And guys like Garland, he's also a small guy and he's a bit of a dog. What do you think about Marco Rossi?
I love him. I don't think the height is actually as big a deterrent as it's made out to be. I was looking this up today, and he's only 2 centimeters shorter than Connor Bedard. And no one really questions that Bedard's not a center. So I think there's a little, that seems a little disingenuous. But even if he doesn't stick at center, he's great. He'd be a great winger too, with that small size. But there's so many other factors that just make him almost unobtainable at this point, and most of that has to do with Bill Guerin doesn't want to give him up for futures.
Yeah, and considering our best trade assets are like guys like Willander, DPD, who I'll be really upset if they trade DPD, and obviously a protected 2026 first rounder. There's no way we're trading an unprotected one. So moving on to the next name is a really interesting name that's actually been popping up a little bit recently, and it kind of caught me off guard because I am a big fan of his, and that is Shane Pinto. He is a center. In the playoffs, he had 2 points in 6 games. He's 6'3". He weighs around 204 pounds, so he's a good sized guy. And I believe he does have a lot more potential to give. He's only 24 years old. He's a solid player. He's decent. He has good speed. He's just overall talented guy. Like he's kind of like I call him like Jake Gensel, where he's kind of like he kind of do a little bit of everything. He has a good shot. And I really like him. And I think he, would really flourish here in Vancouver if he had that second line center role, even though maybe some people are thinking they want to reach a little bit higher. What do you think about Shane?
Yeah, he's fantastic. I like him a lot. He's a 2-time 20 goal scorer. His contract, he's an RFA after this contract. So after this upcoming year, he is an RFA, which interestingly seems to scare a lot of GMs away. They like cost certainty. They don't like restricted free agents, which does something kind of weird to his value. Ottawa also has other centers in the organization. They have Ridley Grieg. They have kind of a bunch of other guys that can play center there.
You know what? I know a lot of Canucks fans are not huge fans of Zacha. And I am. I believe this guy could be a really decent fit as a second line center for us. He has size. He has a good weight about him. He's a good player. He has another one of these guys that have good shots. He had, 14 goals, 33 assists. But, you know, he can do a little bit of playmaking too. Now, the problem is he got a lot of great opportunity with a lot of great players last year, and he only put up 47 points. So you would think he would get a little bit more than that in a full 82-game season where he wasn't hurt whatsoever. But again, like he's only 28 years old. It's not like this is a 34, 35-year-old guy. For maybe like a first rounder, protected, of course. We got to always mention that. And I don't know, maybe a prospect like Mancini or something. I would be interested in doing that type of deal. But what do you think, Corey?
He's the prototypical guy you want as your third line center on a deep team. You don't really want him as your second or first line center. Like that's a big reason why Boston has suffered the last why that their ceiling. They always hit a ceiling. And part of that is their center depth. And that's why they went out and got Lindholm, which that was not a good idea. Like they're always looking for more than him. I like him. I think he actually would be a fine stopgap as a second line center, and also beggars can't be choosers. So if that's the guy you have to get, then that's the guy you have to get. He's better than the other options, and he's not frail. So there's that. But you got to understand that there's a ceiling, and the ceiling on him is probably 50 points with good wingers. That's it. I wouldn't expect much more production than that.
But before we get to the real big name, there's two guys that are really interesting, and Corey Ward wants to talk about them. The first guy is Cinger.
Yes, Cole Cinger. The best part about him, he might be available. Emphasis on might. So Columbus actually has, unique to almost the rest of the league, pretty good center depth. Like they have Fantilli, they have Monahan, and they've actually been slotting Cinger on left wing to try to move him up in the lineup. So he's only signed for one more season, and then he's another RFA. It's easy to forget that he's already been in the league for 4 years, doesn't even turn 23 until next year. His defensive stats got better. They use him on the PK. He's big, he's fast, and he's kind of an okay scorer at this point, but he's one of those guys you can see breaking out this year, next year, a little bit later, and maybe just with more opportunity. And then Columbus is looking for guys on the wing. They need winger help. They need more scoring punch. They also need right side defensive depth. That's what they're looking for. So I think he's interesting.
All right, next guy. Tell me about him.
Hendrix Lapierre. I don't actually think he's all that interesting. He's kind of a busting, failing prospect right now. Thought I'd mention him. He's a restricted free agent on the Capitals. He's been buried in the depth chart. I think he's going to trade teams this summer. And also, if you're upset that the Canucks are probably going to trade their AHL MVP, well, Hendrix Lapierre was last season's AHL MVP. So just saying, there's another one kind of out there for the pickings.
That was the greatest hype ever. You know what? He's pretty shit, to be honest. But hey, you know what? Maybe we'll trade Sheloffs for him. I know.
That would be the funniest trade, would be Sheloffs for Lapierre.
Shelovs is going to most likely be traded this offseason. But let's get to the big name here, the big name here. And Pagnotta had a few thoughts, and he mentioned that I'm curious as to Mason Mctavish's future, or at least his stance in Anaheim. You started to hear a little bit of noise. He wasn't overly thrilled with the fact, his role might diminish. So maybe that leads to some trade discussions. He is, really heating up that fire, man. And you know what? Mason Mctavish, this is a guy. So, when I talked about there's certain guys personally that I would trade significant pieces for. This is one of those guys. The guy is tall. He's strong. He's physical, but not like crazy physical, like running around Sherwood. But he's good. He has a good size to him along the boards. He doesn't back down. He's a guy who puts up really decent numbers. Last year, 52 points in 76 games. He's young. Now, why Anaheim would go out and trade this guy, I don't think they are going to. But if he is potentially available, you say 2016 top one protected, seriously, top one protected, and you go out and you give him a Willander, man. You give him a Willander. You have to make the cap deal as well, so you got to figure out something more in that whole package. But, you know what, you got to give up a lot to go and get this guy if he actually is available, because this will be your number 2 center for the future. And he legitimately, and I know not everybody would agree with me, he legitimately has number 1 center potential in like 3-4 years from now if everything goes perfect for him. So I love the player. What do you think?
I don't think that there's anything in the Canucks roster or pipeline that would entice the Ducks to trade him. I think
sad face.
So many other teams would be able to outbid the Canucks. Like the Canadians, for example, are also after a center and could easily outbid with just, if you want to do picks, they got picks. If you want prospects, they got prospects. You want young NHL players, they got some young NHL players they can get rid of. They can just bundle it all together.
You know what team I'll be looking at to trade for him is a team like Detroit, man, because they have guys like Sandin Pellikka, who's also a right-handed defenseman. Now, of course, they need defense as well, but you know, if they have an opportunity to get another center, they need centers over there too, right? Larkin's already getting kind of pissed off. Who knows if he's ever going to become available here? But there's definitely a lot of teams. You know, Montreal is looking as well. Toronto is going to need something in the future, but there's no way they have the assets to make that work right now. You know, no, Cowan's not going to be, or sorry, who's their top prospect? Is it Cowan? Who's their, or is that Edmonton? No, that's Cowan, right?
It is Cowan.
Yeah. So, you know, Canucks can give an arm and a leg. I guess the only way they would maybe accept it is, God forbid, they trade a 2026 unprotected first rounder with Willander. I think that would at least a little bit more entice Anaheim, that they have that shot to get Gavin in an absolute disaster season in Vancouver. But I just cannot see Vancouver trading an unprotected, you know, first. So yeah, that's the last name on the list. So Corey, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Everybody that stuck out to the end, thank you so much. Drop a like, leave a sub. Guys, man, like, this channel is blowing up and it's all because of you guys. We're brand new, as I mentioned it. I'm going to mention it for the rest of the month. And then we're not going to be brand new anymore. So I'm going to have to come up with a new slogan. But honestly, it's great to have you guys. And I notice now the comment sections have been heating up big time. So thank you so much for watching. Corey, thank you so much for being here. Go follow my man at Canucks News Summaries. Corey, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me.